Dave Kane is live this morning and joins us now with a Medal of Valor winner, really a special guest with us this morning. Hi, Dave.
Good morning, Evan. Good morning, Holly. And absolutely, it's a special guest. I mean, we have many members of the Rochester community who are serving their country either in Iraq or Afghanistan or any other parts of the world where the U.S. military has a presence. But not many of those local members of our community come home from service with the United States Air Force Commendation Medal of Valor. And we'd like to introduce you to Luanne Van Peursem. Good morning, Luanne.
Good morning, Dave.
And Luanne is from Rochester and just recently came back from her third deployment overseas. First of all, Luanne, you were in the United States Air Force Active Reserve, correct?
Correct.
Which means that you can come back, but they can call you back again.
As long as I have that uniform.
And you look pretty tough in that uniform, I want to tell you. We'll show the pictures in a second. Now, Luanne received the Air Force Commendation Medal, a second Oak Leaf Cluster with Valor for her actions on the battlefield. Why don't you tell us briefly what occurred that day that led to you receiving this honor?
At the time we were overseas in Baghdad, we were under attack. They would mortar and rocket us several times during the week. This particular incident, it hit pretty close to home in that they hit us on the back of our compound where two of my comrades were working. We were inside our office at the time. We heard the explosion. There were two of them. The second one was the loudest, and it was very close. Knowing that I had two of my comrades outside, I crawled on the floor and opened the door and heard the moaning for help.
So now, you did you just react, or did you have to think about it? You said, I have to go save those guys.
You immediately go into defensive mode as soon as the attacks occur. You know, this has just been a common practice, and this is what we've been trained to do.
And Luanne here in Rochester works at UCVA, University Cardiovascular Associates, and she's a cardiology medical technician. But over there, you're in addition to other things, you also serve as a paramedic, which made you uniquely qualified to go out and save those gentlemen.
That's correct. In the military, my job actually is non-medical. I work for logistics support. Basically, we're in charge of anything that moves on the ground or in the air, and we support troop movement, cargo movement, rolling stock, whatever needs to be transported. We're pretty much the people that you go to take care of that.
And as I mentioned, Luanne was most recently deployed in Iraq. She's also been in Germany and Afghanistan, and who knows where her next travels might take her. But when we come back and talk with Luanne a little bit, we have some other very cool things to show you, and she's got some other stories so that we can get a little better idea of what goes on overseas with the military that we might not, be privy to when we see it on the news or in the newspaper.
Dave, I actually wrote down something she said. As she said, I was captivated by what she was saying, and she said they mortar and rocket us several times per week. She said it so nonchalantly, and it makes you realize just how brave some people are, and you realize in your own job it's just so hard to even comprehend saying something like that in that kind of a fashion.
You're absolutely right. I'm sure she doesn't think twice about the fact that mortars and rockets are constantly flying around, because that's where she is and this is the job that she does. And again, it's the kind of thing that many people back home don't realize, and that's why we had Luanne in this morning.
Well, great. We were looking forward to hearing more from her. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
13 Wham News. More local experience.
8:20 now, just a few snow flurries in the forecast today. It's going to be a lot calmer than it is going to be this weekend, because then some wind will roll in the next couple of days.
Now let's go back out to Dave Kane, live with a special guest this morning.
I did the first one already.
Here for you?
Yeah.
Dave, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Can you see me?
Yes.
How do I look?
You look great.
Okay, good.
Hey, Dave, Evan and I were just talking during the break. It's like we report on stories coming out of Iraq all of the time, but you kind of forget the severity of some things that are going on over there until you hear stories like the woman you're talking to this morning, and you just hear how dangerous it can be.
Yeah, it's like Evan was saying before. I mean, it's just so surreal to hear someone say, oh yeah, the rockets and the mortars were flying all around us, and that's an everyday occurrence over in Iraq. So, I mean,
how does she feel about possibly going back again?
Well, I talked with her before. Luanne, Holly wants to know how you feel about going back, because you were telling me off the air that you are in the middle of another 8-year stint with the active reserve, so they can call you back at any time.
That's correct. As long as I have that uniform, I am deployable.
So you don't get any much advance notice. I mean, you could be sitting at dinner and the general's on the phone, Luanne, we need you, and you got to go.
That's correct.
And so how does that affect family life and things at home? I mean, it's a huge interruption.
I'm basically the family. They're comfortable with it. They expect it. So it won't come as a surprise should we get a last minute's notice. And both my sons are also gearing up towards a career in the military, so they fully understand.
All right, so your husband, he keeps the home fires burning when
That's
you're
correct.
away, and you have 2 sons. I know one is kind of in a military prep academy out in Utah, and your eldest son is already in the service?
That's correct. He's in school right now to training to be a pararescuer. It's a 2-year program, and he'll be finishing up this summer, and my youngest son will also be graduating and getting his commission this summer. So it'll be a busy summer for me.
So we should also mention that the training that your eldest son is going for, it's one of those light assignments where, you know, they may have to drop them behind enemy lines to rescue somebody who might be, you know, something, you know, pretty ordinary like that.
Yes, he's going to be a pararescuer, and I'm very proud of him.
Yeah.
So he will be, part of their job entails going behind enemy lines and rescuing the elite when they're down.
All right. We're speaking with Luanne Van Peursem. She works at the University Cardiovascular Associates here in Brighton. She's also a member of the United States Air Force Active Reserve. We have some great pictures and some other stories to share with her when we come back and check with Luanne in just a little bit.
Yeah, Dave, listen, we're going to make sure we got plenty of time in our last segment in the last half hour, because that is amazing. Pararescue, one of the most dangerous and really amazing lines of work you can get into.
Is this a family that loves danger or what?
No kidding. She's got to support her kids now going through
Service as a
what she was
lifestyle.
with.
Thank you, Dave. We appreciate that. More with Luanne and her amazing story coming up. And much more on First Command News this morning next as well.
They were saying
Yep,
more
your
with
local
Luanne.
headlines are next.
We are Americans. And as Americans with the freedom to choose,
Why would we choose to send our money overseas when we buy gasoline?
When we buy quick fill gasoline that is made from 100% North America.
So
by noon, so fairly close to the freezing point during that time period. And as we go through the afternoon, most areas will get up to about the mid-30s for highs. So we should see at least a little bit of melting occur today, but with quite a few clouds in place and temperatures just barely above the freezing point, I think any melting that we do see is going to be fairly limited. Overnight tonight, temperatures drop back into the 20s for lows, but not too far into that range, mostly upper 20s for those overnight lows, with just a chance of a couple snow showers for that time period. Heading into tomorrow, 41 for a high. We'll see some snow showers then, but of course with a temperature of 41, I think we may see at least a wet snowflake or rain shower try to occasionally mix in during that warmest point of the day. And the wind picks up heading into Saturday night and Sunday, starting off in the 20s Sunday and then just sliding down temperature-wise. And getting into next week, most temperatures hold in the 20s for highs, so a little bit below average even as we get into the work week for next week.
Thank you, Marty.
Okay. Let's go live to Dave Kane once again, joining us with a recipient of the Medal of Valor.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, I've got to tell you, I'm an Army brat myself. My dad's a colonel in the Army, and I do not think my mom could handle it if my sister or myself decided to also go into the Army. So the fact that Luanne is, able to support her kids doing this too, doing what she was trying to do or what she is doing, that's amazing.
I guess, in each family there's a different dynamic about what, a family can endure and what they can't. And even if they can't, they find a way to. And this is a very proud family. Obviously, Luanne's 2 sons are following in her footsteps. Luanne, you've more or less kind of set the tone. Nobody else previously to you and the family has gone into the military, have they?
That's correct.
All right, so Luanne is setting a new family tradition for the Van Peursem family. Now, Luanne was in Iraq most recently. She's back here at UCVA, University Cardiovascular Associates, and we have some pictures. Here's Luanne in Iraq actually receiving the commendation from, obviously, a very important guy, because he's wearing...
General North.
He's a general, don't you know? And now here you are with a young Iraqi boy. Now, you were telling me about a program that's aimed towards the children over there.
That's correct. We have a program, it's called the CMOC program, where we help out with a medical aid with the families over in Iraq, the children, the women, and any of the people that are requiring any kind of clinical assistance that we can. And it helps to build a rapport and the trust between the U.S. and the Iraqis.
Right, so that they see that you're there to help as
Correct.
well. All right, now here's Luanne in her full dress uniform, looking mighty tough, I want to say. She'll be able to pin that medal right there. And down here is a picture in the summertime in Iraq, a balmy 140 degrees on the thermometer, her gallon of water. Aside from air conditioning, what are some of the creature comforts and things that you really longed for over there?
One of of course, the most important thing was I missed my family and my friends. You know, you miss your home and all the comforts that you have in your home. You make Iraq your home. You know, you're working with a group of individuals that now become your family. They're your extended family. And the support that we got from the home front, my co-workers organized, Eric organized a group of them together, and they were constantly sending me care packages, which, you know, everybody shares their care packages with each other, and it boosts the morale miraculously.
Any kind of contact from home.
Absolutely.
And of course, this sign was created here at UCVA. They had a nice little welcome home party for Luanne. And Luanne, let me welcome you home as well.
Thank
and
you.
You know, I know Rochester is very proud of you, and certainly the service is proud of you. And the fact that, you know, you're ready to go back again certainly speaks a lot about your character and your commitment to contributing. So we hope that when you are called again, it's, you know, somewhere nice and peaceful. But, you know, we'll wish you Godspeed, and we thank you for joining us this morning. Congratulations on the Medal of Valor. Just another member of the military who just happens to live in our community and has contributed greatly, not only overseas, but contributes to the community as well. Luanne Van Peursem, and we thank her for being with us this morning.
You almost think, Dave, that they do such an amazing job over there. It allows us to live a life where we're hardly thinking about it, except for when we hear some of these stories or meet some of these people, which is a great thing and maybe not a great thing for those of us who maybe take it for granted, the work that they do.
Absolutely. I mean, regardless of how people feel about our involvement over there, the bottom line is that we have Americans over there doing their job,
right.
and it affects us at home.
Thanks so much,
right.
Dave.
Wow. 140 degrees. You saw the thermometer
And she
in that
had to
shot.
wear that outfit with it, yeah.
Oh, boy.
The full uniform.
Well, that's a great story, and we really appreciate having Dave on. We should say that again this week. We're hoping to have him on again later this month, but every time Dave's on, we get such great feedback from our viewers. They appreciate Dave's work in our community. We've had a great time having him on. Andrea Holland next week.
Yeah.
Maybe some other folks, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but maybe some other folks, and maybe Dave again later this month. So it's been great having him on, and a great story today.